Look, everyone's out here losing their minds over how big these dudes' arms are. But the real war, the one that's actually going to decide the night, is happening right at the thumb. We're talking about the riser battle. In the streets, we call it the riser, but scientifically, it's radial deviation, and it is the ultimate icebreaker on the table. If you don't have that riser, you don't have a seat at the table. It's the gatekeeper to either snatching total height or watching your hand get folded like a lawn chair. Now, why is this a straight-up nightmare for a giant like Vitaly? You gotta look at how the man actually pulls. Vitaly isn't exactly walking around with a world-class riser. Because his forearms are so long, he's basically forced to dump his height against most guys just to get a grip that doesn't feel awkward. We saw it when he went up against Michael Todd. His riser was basically on the same level as Mike's. And let's be real, if you're matching Mike's height, you're in big trouble against Devon. Vitaly is famous for getting pins even when his hand is flat on the floor, which is some freak of nature stuff, but trying to pull that off against a technical genius like Devon is a suicide mission. Here's the physics of why losing the riser battle is a death sentence. When two guys hit a toe prawl, the one with the stronger riser is the one driving the bus. If you've got that superior riser, you can post right into your opponent's fingertips. As you drive that riser up, their fingers start to leak and open up. That's when you start climbing. You literally walk your hand higher and higher up their lever while sliding your elbow forward to lock it in. Once you're at the top of that lever, it's pure math. It takes way less juice to bring their arm down when you're pulling from the top. If you lose that riser war and try to hit a low hand toe prawl instead, a guy like Devon is just going to climb over you and snatch your wrist like a trophy. This is exactly where Devon's high-low switch comes in to wreck shop. Devon always says that rising and pronation are the two most important strengths in the game, period. You want a riser so strong that you outclimb everyone, and a pronator so beefy that you're basically unhookable. The riser is the icebreaker that gets you in the door, and as soon as you beat someone's height, their first instinct is to try and hook you to save their life. That's when you flip the switch to that low hand pronation and stay out of their power lane. This 1-2 punch is how Devon systematically bullies almost every opponent into a desperate flop press. Let's call the flop press what it really is. A defensive white flag. You're only going all in with your shoulder because your hand couldn't hold the line. It's a dead wrist move that has zero technical counters other than just outrising the guy before he can commit his body weight. Vitaly struggled against Michael Todd because Michael had the hand and wrist to take his height away. The scary part for Vitaly this time, Devon's got that same elite hand control, but with a massive engine and pulling power that Michael Todd never had. The longer this match goes, the worse the physics tax gets for the guy who lost the riser. Think back to Michael Todd versus Jerry Caderet. The longer that clock ticked, the deeper Jerry's hand sank into the abyss. Jerry didn't care, because he's a beast who pulls from his shoulder. But Vitaly isn't built like Jerry. If Devon snatches that riser early, he's going to keep improving his position inch by inch, climbing Vitaly's long-ass lever until the mechanical advantage is just too much to handle. Vitaly might be able to pin some guys without height, but you don't want to be testing that theory against the man who invented the spider trap. If Devon wins the riser battle, it's game over, because at that point, Vitaly isn't just fighting Devon, he's fighting the laws of physics, and physics never loses. Can Vitaly's raw, long-levered horsepower run through the trap, or is he just the next giant to have his fingers cracked and his wrists snatched? Drop your pick in the comments.